Hi everyone, I'm Kaylee from Crafty Madness, and today I'm going to show you how to make a curvy crochet bralette cup that actually fits. So I have two examples here. They're both made using ombre yarn that I will link below. So the goal of this pattern is to make a cup that has a high degree of curvature so that it can help better fit your shape. As a comparison, I have this bra from Panache that fits me really well. For reference, it's a size 32 double D. And as you can see, it has a high level of curvature and projection, and that's what I was trying to match when making this cup. So as you can see, it matches up with the curvature very nicely. To get this level of curvature in the bra, they had to create seams here. But since crochet is pretty unique, you can get high degrees of curvature without making multiple parts that you need to fit together. So I designed this pattern to be similar to a granny square, or I guess a granny triangle, in the sense that you have these straight lines and then corners, straight line, corner, straight line, corner. And so if you notice the seam here, which connects the rounds, this is where each round ends. This is in the middle between these two corners. So when you're creating this, you'll have a set number of stitches per side, and then around this seam area you're going to have half that number of stitches. So for example, you'll have 2 stitches a corner, 4 stitches a corner, 4 stitches a corner, and then 2 stitches to finish it off. Hopefully this will make more sense once you start making the pattern, but just wanted to give you a preview so you can see where the idea came from. So we're going to start off with a magic loop. I do this by basically making an incomplete slip knot and then yarning over and pulling through. So here's the loop, and now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and make 12 linked double crochets into this loop. So the way you start that from a chain is we're going to insert the hook into the second chain from the stitch, like that, pull up a loop, then insert into the loop, pull one up, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2 again. And that's our first linked double crochet. And so I'm going to mark this off with a stitch marker so we know which stitch to come back to. Now we're going to make 11 more. So I'm going to insert my hook right under that loop, that cross loop there. That's from our linked first stitch. So into there, pull up a loop like that, then insert into the loop again, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 2 linked double crochets. You can see the V's here, like that. And again, for our third one, just like that. That's 3. And this is our last one, 12. And so I'm going to put a stitch marker in that very last stitch we just made, the 12th one. Like that. Great. And so now this little tail end from the start of the magic loop, I'm just going to pull it. You can see it makes our piece a bit more circular. I'm going to pull it till it's tight, and this should not come undone once it's made. And now I'm just going to slip stitch right into the space where that pink stitch marker is, so our first stitch of the round. Like that. So that's one way of doing it, or the way I like to do it is to make sort of a linked slip stitch I insert the hook into there, where we were normally linking it, and then insert my hook into that pink stitch marker stitch, pull out a loop, and then pull through both like that. And so you get this kind of like diagonal line that will go up across your rows. I think it's a bit more secure that way. And notice that we do have an extra like V shape here from the slip stitch, but on the next round that we will not be crocheting into that. That is our slip stitch, we will be skipping that, which is why the green one is here. Okay, so now I'm going to chain 2. And that's the end of round 1. Okay, so now for round 2, we're going to do the same thing we did the first time, where we insert our hook into that second chain from the hook, pull up a loop, and then we're going to make our first stitch where that pink stitch marker still is. So that's where the slip stitch we just made was. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 again. And I'm going to move that pink stitch marker to the stitch we just made. And so that's our first normal stitch. Now we're going to make our first corner cluster. So I'm going to grab the linked loop here, and in this very next stitch, going to make 2 linked double crochets. So 1, pull up a loop, and then in that same stitch that we just were in, going to make another linked double crochet like that. So you have 2 in the same stitch. Now we're going to do that again for the second half of our corner cluster. So this next stitch here, insert like that, and then again. So now we have 5 total stitches this round. The first unclustered one, then the clustered one in this stitch, and the clustered one in this stitch. And so now we can make 2 unclustered linked double crochet. So in this stitch, next one we make a new one, pull up a loop, and then in the next one, just a regular linked double crochet again. And now we're going to make another corner cluster. So I already pulled up a linked loop here, and in this next stitch I'm going to make 2 linked double crochets. That's 1, and same stitch, that's 2. Yep, and so we're going to do that again. So next stitch here, we're going to do 1, and 2. So yeah, there's 2 in here and 2 in here. And now we're going to make the 2 next stitches regular, so no clustering. So that's 1, and 2. Okay, and now we have 3 stitches left, which is exactly the number we want, since we're going to do 1 more corner cluster, which is these 2, and then 1 final linked double crochet that's plain, and this last green one here. So it's our 3rd corner cluster to make the 3rd corner of the triangle. So 1, 2, and into this next one we'll do that again. So 1, and 2. Great. And this last one, like I said, it's going to be a regular stitch. Perfect. So now that's the last stitch of our round. I will take out this green stitch marker and put it into that stitch we just made. And now we're going to do the slip stitch to where this pink stitch marker is. So I'm going to do the linked version where I'm going to pull up a loop from here, insert it into that, under that V shape where the pink stitch marker is, pull out a loop, and then pull through both. And chain 2. And now we're ready for round 3. And as you can see, this is starting to curve in a little. Might look a little scary at first, but this is what we want. It'll even out in the end. Okay, so round 3 is very similar to round 2. We're just adding like extra stitches between the corner clusters. So I'm gonna start by pulling up a loop from the chain and inserting my hook where that pink stitch marker is. And making a linked double crochet. And then I'm going to move my stitch marker into that stitch we just created. Like so. And now we're going to make another regular linked double crochet. Okay, so now we have 2 regular linked double crochets, and now it is time for our corner cluster again. So I'm gonna make 2 linked double crochets in here and then 2 in here. So that's one set. And that's the second part of the linked double crochet. And now we're going to do 4 regular linked double crochets. So since the seam here is halfway through, like partway through where the cup is, like halfway between the corner clusters, that's why you do half the linked double crochets here as you're doing for the rest of the cup. So we did 2 here, now we're going to do 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, great. So that's 4. And now we're just gonna do another corner cluster. So that's our second corner cluster. We're going to do another 4 regular linked double crochets. And now for our final corner cluster, we're going to do that in these 2 stitches. Okay, so that's our last corner cluster, and we should have 2 stitches left, which is exactly what we have to finish up that third side, the one that we started with. Okay, and yeah, for those of you not using stitch markers, you are going to be skipping this last V here, because that's our slip stitch, not our last linked double crochet from the last round. Okay, so now I'm going to move this green stitch marker to this last stitch of the round and create a slip stitch between this and the first stitch of the round. And there we go. And then chain 2. Okay. So now into round 4, I'm gonna create 3 regular linked double crochets, then the corner cluster in these 2, and then 6 regular linked double crochets, corner cluster, 6, corner cluster, and 3 to finish it off. So I just finished round 4. Here's what it looks like. Hopefully you're getting the hang of it now, but basically you're just adding 2 regular linked double crochets between each corner cluster every round. And so on the side where the seam is, you're gonna end up with like 1 additional one on each side between the corners, if that makes sense. So for round 5, for example, you're going to have 4 corner cluster, 8 corner cluster, 8 corner cluster, 4. And for this cup here, I did 6 total rounds, and you can do as many or as few as you like. If you would like the full written instructions, you can find them on my website, craftymadness.com. And here's the final look. I wore this to a music festival. Let me know in the comments if you would like a tutorial for the rest of the top. Thank you for watching.